What's going on, boys and girls? This is going to be a reaction video. There's a video that I found online that the title intrigued me, and I wanted to see what they said. Now, this could be good or bad. I've done a few of these, and most of them are generically usually pretty shit, to be brutally honest. So I wanted to see if these were actually going to be good. So this particular one is called Can You Replace Windows with Linux in 2018? Now, that does bring up an interesting question. Can you replace Windows with Linux in, well, any year? It really depends on the user you are, in my opinion, and what you need out of your OS. So I'm going to react to this and see how well this goes. So, yeah, this ought to be interesting. Alright, so we're going to roll into this video and see how well this particular one. This is going to be a long one, guys, so don't think it's not going to be. I mean, the video alone is 11 minutes plus whatever I got to fucking say, so you guys know what to do. Wait, I'll pause so I can react to said videos. Tech 411.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Linux. Can we replace our Windows PC with a Linux operating system here in 2018? How viable is Linux as an alternative to Windows? Well, to start in a nutshell, I think you can use Linux for just about everything that you would do on Windows, you can do on Linux. Now, for today's demonstration, I'm going to be using Linux Mint. There are other distributions of Linux, such as Ubuntu, Fedora, and so on and so forth, but I'm using Linux Mint here. So I've got it installed, and you may have watched in a previous video, this was installed in a virtual machine, and I installed the guest editions on the virtual machine. I actually installed this on my main PC and used it for about a week just to get an idea of what it would be like to live with Linux, and I was very impressed.
So first off, I'll give you props for actually installing it on real fucking metal, because, you know, my biggest gripe is a lot of people, for some reason, you know, budget, whatever, they don't want to mess around with real hardware. Fire up a VM is a lot easier for them, etc., etc. The reasons are wide and varied. To me, you can't really get to know how to use something unless you incorporate it into your daily life. Some of these distros that I've used, I wouldn't use if I hadn't tried to incorporate them into my daily workflow. I mean, I'm on /Linux as my workstation machine right now that I use on my EliteBook 8760. And my Surface Pro is running Ubuntu 16.04 still. So I'll give you props on that instead of sucking out and using a VM as, oh, I'm going to use this as my daily driver, and it's in a VM. So real metal wins points with me.
Of what I could do. I could do just about everything. Now, if you have some specific Windows apps that do not run on Linux, that must run on Windows, then that may be a deal breaker for you. But for a lot of folks, this is going to be a very good operating system, and actually probably more secure than Windows. You're not going to get as much garbage, spyware, and so on and so forth on a Linux machine that you would get on Windows. So let's just take a look.
As far as the security bit, you know, I always hear this brought up. It's just the way it's designed. Windows is built out as a single user system trying to parade itself as a multi-user system. Linux is designed as a multi-user system brought down to a single user system. That's really the best way to describe it. So that's why the security models, and that's why the security overall is different and generically better in most cases. You know, you can argue semantics and BSD is better and all this other stuff, But at the end of the day, what really matters is actual real world activity. Like, is this affecting which one gets more? Because if you're gonna hit the biggest market, you're not gonna hit Windows. You're gonna hit friggin' servers and that kind of shit. And that's really the biggest thing. So, and what runs most of the servers? 100% of the supercomputers run Linux.
Look here at the menu here and see what we have out of the box. Linux Mint comes with the Firefox web browser. So we can see that. We are using the Cinnamon desktop environment here. And what I'll do is I'll link in the description to where you can download this if you want to try it out.
Just a recommendation. Now I'm doing a Linux Basics video series right now. My biggest thing is an end user isn't going to know what the fuck desktop environment is. Cinnamon, KDE, Plasma, Mate, GNOME, whatever you want to call it, Maniquari, Unity. They're not going to know what the hell these terms are. We really need to be better about explaining what the hell a desktop is. A lot of the terminology, like, we have to dumb stuff down to bare bones. We have to get back to basics so newcomers understand what the fuck we're talking about when they watch one of these videos. We can't talk about, oh, this is kernel 4.1.8, or, we actually have to bury it down to basics of, like, okay, this is what this new release has. This is what this UI looks like. This is what this UI is called. Not just, and assume they know what the fuck we're talking about. That is a gripe I have in a lot of these Linux videos I have found. Just a little side rant.
So we use Firefox as the web browser. Now, you can install Chrome, but Firefox is built in and it's a very good web browser. We have a bunch of different things here under accessories. We have an archive manager. We have a calculator. We can manage our disks in here. Okay. We have a document viewer. This is going to be good for things like PDFs and so on. We have a font manager where we can manage all the installed fonts. There's a ton of fonts that are here out of the box.
Oh boy, they're not going to care. I love all the fonts in Linux, don't get me wrong, but homeboy, they are not going to care. The only thing they're going to want to know is if they can make it bigger or fucking smaller.
Okay. We have an image viewer. We have a password manager. We have a screenshot manager, a text editor, a sticky notes application. We have a USB image writer. We have a USB stick formatter, and we have a virtual keyboard. Let's just take a look at the virtual keyboard. So this is pretty cool.
No offense, it's only going to fucking matter if you need it for accessibility reasons or if you have a touchscreen. If you have a keyboard, it's not going to fucking matter. Like a physical keyboard, it's a fucking pointless application.
All right. Under graphics, we have GIMP. Pix, and we have Simple Scan. Now this is pretty cool because I actually have an HP multifunction color laser printer. Now, as you can probably guess, the fully functional software is not available for Linux. Now, what I can do is I can install, and maybe I'll go over this in a later video. If you want to see me do that, comment below and I'll put that on the list. But I can install an HP set of utilities into my Linux desktop environment, and it will allow me to take scans from my printer as well as print to my printer without
a portion. I'm not going to say all because HP is weird when it comes to its open source stuff. A good portion of that shit for HP printers is pretty much in the kernel, hardware wise. Not all of them, but there's a good portion. So a lot of the utilities will just, your HP printer is going to, if it's a multifunction printer, will generically pretty much fucking function outside and without installing extra utilities. Not always, but caveats. Everything has got caveats.
Not too much trouble. As we can see now, there's no scanner detected. If I go under Internet, I have, of course, we went over the Firefox web browser. We have Thunderbird email as an email client. If I go to Office, we can see LibreOffice is included, which is a great tool, set of tools actually. If I
You have to explain what LibreOffice is. You know, telling them to go to the fucking website, which is essentially what you're doing after they watch this video, is not helpful.
If I go under Sound and Video, VLC Media Player is included. And there's a media player as well. If I go under Administration, I have a bunch of things down here. If I go to Printers, you can see my HP Color LaserJet MFP listed here already. So it's actually detected the printer. And the HP tools would allow me to set up the scanner. So I could use Simple Scan to scan to it. I have a system monitor, system reports. You have something called time shift, which time shift, let me go ahead and enter in my sudo password. Time shift actually allows you to take snapshots of the system so that if you're installing applications or changing system settings, you can take a snapshot before you start doing that, and if something gets messed up or hosed up, you can actually go back to your working system. So this,
you're specifically talking about Windows users here. You have to use terminology they are going to fucking understand. They don't know what the frig a snapshot is. So, as much as I'm going to say I hate the term dumbing it down, I'm going to simplify it by simply saying that restore points are essentially what snapshots are. Snapshots are Linux's version of restore points. They're a lot different. They work in a different way. But the equivocal on Windows is a restore point.
This is very useful. Time shift. The other useful utility is the software manager. So this is going to be familiar to you if you have an Android or an iPhone. This is basically a software store where I have a bunch of different applications in here that I can get, such as fonts, if I want additional fonts. I mean, and there's just a ton of stuff in here. I want an internet, say web. Just a ton of different tools in here. There's stuff for email. Okay. We have a whole section on games. Not going to get too much into the software manager, but you can see what we have here. If I go under preferences, I have a ton of different preferences here that I can adjust. One thing I like in particular is online accounts. I can actually add all my online accounts through here and integrate them into my operating system.
The online accounts thing, I want to make something very clear here. This is a specific to any GNOME based DEs. This is something that I don't know why people continue to not mention. I have no problem with, I don't know, I have problems with GNOME, but for the love of God, if you're gonna say stuff about the thing, this is why I said, explain what a desktop environment is. You can't just call it an operating system. Because if you give them an operating system with a different desktop environment, because that's what Linux flavors are, is a different OS essentially with the same kernel, or same base being Linux. And, you know, okay, sorry, GNU/Linux, I don't want to piss off the free software people. The whole point is they're not going to have that because KDE or /Plasma's online accounts is finicky at best. And some of the other desktops don't have it at all. So we really, really need to get better about how we explain things. Because that is a big caveat and a big problem.
So you can see there's a lot of stuff out of the box, and there's a lot of things that you can add. Very capable operating system out of the box. So if there's anything you'd like to see me demonstrate on Linux Mint, if there's a particular app that you use on Windows that you'd like to see me demonstrate on Linux Mint, or demonstrate an alternative on Linux Mint, put a comment down in the comments section below, and I'll add all these things to the list so I can get the videos that you guys want to see. But my opinion, folks, is that Linux is a very, very good alternative to Windows. If you're building your own PC, or if you have an old Windows XP computer, this may very well be a good alternative for you to use, to where you won't have to pay Microsoft their bounty in order to continue using Windows. And again, I'm going to emphasize the security aspect of this as well. Linux is going to be much more secure than Windows because most of the spyware and unwanted programs and such are written for Windows and not for Linux. Don't want to get too long on this video.
Two things. Security wise, Linux is built differently, so hence why the multi-user, single user dynamic comes into play. Which, again, Windows, single user jacked up to a multi-user. Linux, multi-user jacked down to a single user. The security and the way it's built is completely different. As far as the malware, Windows on the desktop, or laptops and, PC, quote unquote, is still the biggest market share. So it's going to hammer the biggest fucking nail that sticks out. Well, guess what? That's Windows. So at the end of the day, though, between the model and the market share is why Windows gets fucking hammered. And why Windows is insecure by design, personally.
But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, anything you want to see on Linux, make a post in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, folks, please give it a thumbs up. It helps other YouTubers find quality content, and we greatly appreciate it. Click the subscribe button, and then click the bell to get notified whenever new content is added. As always, your comments, questions, and suggestions are welcome below, and we thank you very much for watching.
Okay, well, that was that was interesting. I don't know how I feel about that video. That was definitely not a list of reasons why or how come Linux can potentially replace Windows in 2018. That was a fucking run through of a distribution by default, which I can get in any fucking distro review on YouTube. I did not see one solid point of reason, one recommendation of alternatives, one recommendation of things that will make a user who is currently using Windows say, I can go to Linux. That is my problem with these videos. There's no aha. That's the reason. You talk about system builders and you talk about secondhand computers. Like, that is such a niche market. Secondhand computers, I'm sitting 1, 2, 3. I'm sitting next to 4 right now. I mean, come on. That is such a... Most people are content with one. Like most generic end users. Because that's what Windows are. We're talking the everyday mom and pop here. The dumb tech, the techie literate person that, every tech geek makes fun of because they don't know their ass from their fucking elbow. That is who we make fun of. But the simple fact of the matter is, you were saying you gave no compelling reasons for them to switch. At all. Like, none. And you made a video specifically talking about why Linux is like a viable alternative in 2018 for Windows. Dude, God, these videos make my fucking head hurt. That is 11 minutes. I wish I could get it fucking back because I could have fucking give reasons, show alternatives, pick alternatives. That is what we don't fucking do. Highlight it. Highlight what makes our desktop, our operating system that we love so much better than what they're currently using. And nobody I have found does it at all. And it boggles my fucking mind. It really does. So when I do find those videos that point out the alternatives, those videos that are like, hey, try these on Linux, because these are equivocal or just as good. These are just as good, if not better, than the Windows stuff you're using. That is what we need more of. Not this shit. And I'm going to be blunt. To me, this is shit. So, tech411.com, I'm sorry if you take offense to this, but I'm going to be blunt. That was shit content. So, really, all I'm going to say is, at the end of the day, for me, what we need to emphasize the selling points of Linux. And I don't mean talking about freedom and all the other like religious ended stuff that we come across as if you're a fucking zealot. We need to talk about the marketing selling points. Oh god, that term marketing, bad. Of what makes Linux better. But that's enough of my rant. You guys know what to do. Rate it, subscribe. Peace out.